Hey guys, Bruce Duo Anime here. Hope you're doing well. I am, because we're talking Blue Lock Chapter 118 today, titled Distorted. And we pick up this week's chapter with the reaction to Nagi Seishiro's super goal last week to tie up the game. And the announcers are bewildered and confused and hype, just as the crowd is. We kind of see we see shots of all the reactions from people beside, even the Blue Lock 11s. We see everyone's reactions, and we start with the announcers, and they comment on one of them comments, "Who is Nagi Seishiro? I've never heard that." So with this goal, Nagi has burst out on the Japanese football scene, and they comment that they wonder if the Blue Lock project has succeeded because of this goal, because it was such a super goal, and they didn't think they were gonna. It kind of tells me they didn't think the Blue Lock 11 were gonna score a goal at all. So that's what that tells me, and we get a shot of the crowd who are described as bewildered and excited. And you kind of see that with how the artist drew them. They're kind of looking at each other, talking hype, but not all pump fist phrase. They're kind of it's kind of stuck in the middle. And if you notice something about the crowd, there a lot of them. Besides, I looked through them. Maybe 2 or 3 are wearing 10 jerseys, and 10 is the ace number in football, and that's Sae's jersey number, just as it's Rin's number for Blue Lock. So I thought that was interesting that everyone's wearing Sae jerseys, pretty much everyone. And we continue on with the reactions from Nagi's goal from Blue Lock, and we see Nagi with his fist raised, and he kind of realizes what he did, and he's like, "Oh, I pumped my fist." Cringe. Like, he's upset at himself that he reacted that way, because we've seen Nagi before. He's never been one to celebrate or get excited about anything, especially not his own goals, so it was a cute little moment, I think, that we saw my boy cringe at his own excitement. And we see kind of all the Blue Lock 11, their reactions to the goal. You know, we see all their responses, and they're all like, show off. All right, I didn't get to score. They're all upset that they weren't the ones to do it. A lot of them were, and I like that. I like that they're not losing their egos as strikers during this match, and we're kind of hammered down that point by the author through this match, which I like. And we get a moment with Ego and Henri, and they're discussing kind of that goal, and Henri's really excited, and she's kind of wondering why that worked all of a sudden. Ego starts to go into his ideas about improvisation in the match, and we've seen this a few chapters ago. He talked about this. He wants football players to be able to think on their own. That's why he hasn't really coached them. He set up a plan before the match, right? But we didn't get he hasn't called a timeout. He's let them do their own thing. And even though their attacking plan, the first one failed, which I think it was meant to fail. I think he wanted to see it fail. I think he just gave them something and said, do this, and he wanted to see how they would react once the defense shut it down. And we see with a goal, it took a little bit, but we see with this goal that it can work, and I think, and the Blue Lock 11 think that as well. We see them react to think, especially Isagi, that they can shock the world, they can do this. It does work. So he kind of goes on a story about a mindset of a loser is somebody who gets defeated, and then they reassess their failures, they get beaten, and then they go, okay, I'll come back and try again. While a winner is somebody who, when something doesn't go right, they go, okay, this is a new challenge. I'm excited to do this. I'm going to try my best doing it a different way, even if it's unconventional, even if it's ugly. And that really encapsulates Blue Lock's football, really, from the start of the manga. Even if it's ugly, even if it's weird, it's, if it scores goals, score them at all costs, because Ego mentions here the ultimate goal of this game is to win. It's not to do anything else, it's not to look good, it's not to get fans, it's to win the game. So once that happens, we get a little cute comic with it. But we're really getting to see Ego's football mentality through this whole match, and I'm liking that. He's like, all the announcers are slow. Like that seed I mentioned earlier, I think that's a small seed. It's like, did Blue Lock actually succeed? He's shocked, and I like that. With that, even Blue Lock, even if they tie this match, even if they lose it, I think there's a small percentage that this could happen if they lose. But if they tie or win, he's proven right. His whole thing, and not just because, well, yeah, Bruce, now they're the under-20 team. He's like, now his whole, everything he taught, all the shit he talked, everything he said, all the problems he caused, all the money he borrowed was corrected. It was proven right because of this win. Because we're seeing even the Japanese defenders are shocked. They're like, okay, these guys aren't jokes. And we move on from that this week. We see that Isagi tries to, I don't know if he's consoling Ren, or if he's just trying to cheer him up at first. I guess that's what it is. And Ego comments that Isagi is really Ren's key to awakening, whatever that means. He's already a great player, but I guess there's one next level that Ren hasn't gone to that Ego thinks he needs to reach. Maybe it's the flow state, maybe it might be that, but he comments that Isagi, as we've seen, is really Ren's kind of pathway to become a better player, but Ren's such a dick. Like, Isagi tries to console him and say, hey man, like, that would have been a pretty cool goal, we'll get it the next time, and he's like, are you trying to, like, insult me? What the hell are you talking about? It doesn't mean shit if you don't score the goal. And Isagi's like, well, what do you mean? And we see Ren kind of explain, you would just attach yourself to me, by the way, through the whole process, and you split off when you thought you had a chance to score. And Isagi's like, is that bad? Ren's like, no, this is great. This relationship of ours should always stay distorted. We should devour each other to become better. So we're seeing that term come up again, devour each other to make each other better. And I'm wondering if that's what Ego means for Isagi to devour Ren, but Ren to devour Isagi in what way, because, I mean, Ren is the best player in Blue Lock, so I'm curious to see how the author develops that. After the game kicks off, it restarts, it's 1-1, we see it. Yes. It's finally time. Yes. 50 some odd chapters in the making, we finally see the matchup between Sae and Ren rolls up on him and says, wow, it's been 30 minutes, you're not even going to say anything to me, you shitty bro. And Sae all these panels are just like, he doesn't care, he does not even seem phased, this is just a game, not even a game to him, this is just something, a test to see, a kind of a scope out, he's going to probably bounce afterwards. But we see him really put himself in this match, he seems so pressed and frustrated, unlike we've really seen him, besides maybe a few select panels. And the crazy thing to me is, he's keeping up with Sae, but we can tell that Sae is getting past him slowly, at least to me. I see that Sae, because he's not as pressed, he has a clearer mind, and he'll probably get past Ren just because of that, because, like, Ren's losing, right now it's hard to tell, but I think Ren's losing a bit of focus just because he's so pressed to get past his brother. And he says, this match isn't a game, it's for me to surpass you. And that's all this is. And last chapter, when he tried to score the same goal that Sae did, I've seen a lot of people talk about how, like, they probably would have scored a goal, if Sae wouldn't have tried, if Ren wouldn't have tried that goal. And even Isagi comments on this, so they're aware of it. But, he couldn't help himself because he wanted to try and do it, and he almost did. Also, I should mention that the startup panel where it says matchup with Ren and Sae, probably one of the best panels I've seen in the manga. It's sick. Their auras clash while they're one-on-one with each other, and we see a lot of subsequent panels of them Sae doing different moves on him, and Ren is keeping up with him, but like I said, I think that Ren is going to fail this time just because he's starting to, he's not cracking, because he's obviously playing well with that almost goal there, but I think he's just too distracted to play, his mind's not clear. But we see a lot of cool panels with Sae doing a bunch of cool dribbling and stuff like that. And I'm really enjoying this matchup. And they're so connected in it that both one teammate from each team comes up to help him, Isagi and the dog guy. That's what I'm going to call him, the dog guy. I forget his name. They both come up and he's like, hey, I'm open. Ren, I'll back you up. And Ren says, get out of our way. Nobody help. This is a battle between brothers. And we finally have the matchup next chapter with Ren and Sae, and I feel like the whole chapter is going to be devoted to it. I'm really excited to see it, and I'm really happy that we've finally gotten here after Ren is introduced to the matchup between brothers. And some people are wondering if we're going to see a flashback to their household and like them raising, because why Ren hates his brother so much. I don't know if just Sae was always neglectful, maybe just never spent time with him. It could be a few number of things, but a lot of people are speculating we're going to get a flashback, but Blue Lock rarely does the flashback, but, I mean, this would be an appropriate time to use it, I think, to see, how Ren sees Sae from the beginning and what happened, what led him to be this way. I think it would be a useful chapter to see their past, but Man, I'm excited to see more panels of them fighting it out because the dribbling from Sae is pretty sick. Their matchup, like I said, the auras. I hope we keep seeing the aura artwork with them. And he starts with scissors dribbling, by the way. I like that Sae did that. You know, it's kind of the go-to for a lot of the talented players here. I wonder if Rin is physically better than Sae, but Sae has better technical ability. You know what I'm saying? With dribbling, with moves. I feel like Ray is a little bit above him in physicality. I think he might be a little bit taller. And, you know, I'm wondering if we're going to see Ray use, if Rin uses his physicality to beat Sae. I mix their names together there. But overall, this is a really good chapter for kind of the reaction to Blue Lock and explaining more what Blue Lock means in terms of football, Ego's mentality, and we finally get to start up with the brothers matchup, which I'm sure everybody's happy about. But yeah, it was a good reaction to Nagi's goal. Ego explaining his football mentality in the matchup startup with Rin and Sae. So that's it for this week's chapter, guys. If you like the video, if you like Blue Lock content, please leave a like, please leave a subscribe for more Blue Lock content. I'd really appreciate it, guys. See you next week. Later.